You know, it's funny. So much of our lives are spent chasing after things. Money, wealth, all our possessions. But what if a really foundational piece of wisdom tells us to, well, rethink that whole chase? Today, we're going to unpack a powerful and, let's be honest, often debated idea from the Sermon on the Mount, earthly treasures, and what it really means to invest in something that actually lasts.
All right, let's just dive straight in. Our source material hits us with a pretty radical idea about wealth, and it comes from one of the most famous teachings ever given.
And here it is, the quote that kicks this whole thing off. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth. Now, at first glance, that sounds kind of impossible, right? Maybe even a little irresponsible in our modern world. So what's really going on here?
Okay, so to get what the warning is all about, we got to be on the same page. What exactly are these earthly treasures that we're being warned about?
Well, to put it simply, it's all about our material wealth and possessions. Just think of it as anything we consider super valuable down here on Earth that, let's be honest, just isn't going to last. It's temporary by its very nature.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this idea isn't stuck in the past. Back then, wealth looked like gold and silver, maybe some really fine clothing. But today, it's your bank account, it's your stocks and real estate, it's the car you drive and the latest phone in your pocket. See? The form changes, but the principle behind it stays exactly the same.
Okay, so this of course brings up a huge question for pretty much anyone living today. If we're not supposed to lay up treasures on Earth, what in the world does that mean for our retirement plans?
I mean, let's be real. Is having a savings account a bad thing? Are we supposed to just cash out our 401ks? This is where we have to get into some really important details.
And this is so important. This is not a command to be broke or reckless with your money. Not at all. In fact, the source text is quick to point out that other parts of Scripture actually encourage being smart and responsible with your finances. Remember the story of Joseph in Egypt? He saved up grain during the good years to prepare for the bad ones. That was just wise planning, not greedy hoarding.
And that right there gets to the heart of it. It's not what you're doing, it's why you're doing it. Is it wise stewardship? You're responsibly planning for the future? Or is it hoarding, piling up wealth because you're scared, or because you want to impress people, or because you just believe that having more stuff will make you feel secure? The motive behind it all, that's everything.
And that whole idea of why brings us to the absolute core of this entire teaching. We've been talking about money, but now we're going to talk about our hearts.
And boom, there it is. If there's one line you take away from all this, it's this one. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Think about it. Whatever you value most, whatever you treasure, that's what gets your attention, your energy, your passion. That's where your heart is. So you see, the big concern here isn't money itself. The real issue is about what or who sits on the throne of your life. What do you truly prioritize? What is it you actually treasure?
So if we're being warned against one kind of treasure, what's the alternative? Well, this teaching lays out a totally different kind of investment portfolio. And when you put them side by side, the difference is, well, it's night and day. Earthly treasures, they're temporary. They're uncertain. Think stock market crashes, inflation, or just things getting old and falling apart. But heavenly treasures, well, those are described as being eternal and secure. They're completely safe from any kind of loss.
So how do you actually invest in something like that? It's not about writing a check. The source suggests it's through our actions and our attitudes. It's about being rich in good deeds, practicing generosity, being willing to share what we have. It's about putting our time and our resources into things that have eternal value, things like righteousness, justice, and our own spiritual growth.
You know, there's this incredible parable that just hammers this point home. There's this rich guy, he has a huge harvest, and he decides to build bigger barns to store it all. His plan? To just kick back, eat, drink, and be merry. But that very same night, his life is demanded of him, and poof, he loses it all. The point is, he was a fool because he banked his entire existence on wealth he could never take with him.
Okay, so this all builds up to one final, unavoidable choice.
And here's the bottom line, plain and simple. You cannot serve both God and money. It's presented as a choice of allegiance, a choice of who your master is. Because you can't have two. One will always win out.
Now let's be super clear about this. According to the source, the problem isn't having money. The problem is when money has you. It's the love of money. When it becomes your master, that's called a root of all kinds of evil. Money can be a useful tool, for sure, but the love of it, that's a trap.
And so,
This ancient piece of wisdom comes crashing right into our modern world, and it leaves us with a really simple but really profound question. It asks us to look at our bank accounts, our stuff, our ambitions, and just decide, what is it that we truly treasure? Which one will you serve?